Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. The special video on Fortnight current affairs, where I'll be dealing with the 10 important news for the entire fortnight. This is Fortnight 2 for the month of January. Every month, 2 fortnight is released. The coverage of this initiative include three important components. The first is the Hindu, other is the Indian Express, and the Press Information Bureau. So which are the topics that I'll be discussing with you? These are the list of the topic. The 10 important topic for the entire fortnight. We'll be looking into the detail of each and every topic one by one. And before I proceed with the session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful for examination purposes, do press a like button. So the first news, that is the annual status of education report 2022. Recently, the NGO Pratham has released the annual status of education report 2022, and as per the report, the enrollment has went up in a period when the school were shut. This is precisely about the COVID-19 lockdown that India has witnessed, and we were already at the high level before it as well. Since 2005, the ASER report surveys that the age group between 6 to 14 to record the trend of the school enrollment, attendance and reading and arithmetic abilities. So NGO Pratham की अगर बात करें, they come up with the report and precisely the details are about the quality of educations, the basic amenities, the mental capabilities of the children and the participations of student and children have been reported. And this is nearly 7 lakh children across 616 districts were surveyed across India. Now, what is the status of school enrollment during the pandemic? How the things has worked out? Now, for the survey, it found that the enrollment has went up in a period when school were shut, and it has seen that further the older age group, specifically अगर बात करें school dropouts की, उन बच्चों की भी जो ratio है वो बढ़ी है. Even there was a fear that older girls especially may drop out, but that has actually not happened. And in there is a big shift of the government school where the enrollment number was on the higher side. Now, improvement in the facilities, talking about the basic infrastructure and amenities that is required over the time, there has been improvement in the infrastructure viable, and even the rural private school could not do much of their own economy as well as were fragile. See, what is the problem? The problem is the finances and the proper management of the finances. So in terms of improvement, a lot more improvement was not witnessed in the rural private school, right? And even, but being attracted to the state government, the distributions of textbook were often distributed as mid-term meal as well. And the teachers were able to read out in some form or the fashion, because the teachers has also cooperated to the student, either it is an online classes or conducting of any other seminars and session. The teachers were proactively working for the betterment of the students. Now, increase in the private tuition, this is what has been witnessed. And even if you talk about the tuitions that is ongoing in India, some specific state have reported with a high number of tuitions. The proportion of the student taking private tuitions as compared to the school has increased 4%. So this number has increased by 4% during the COVID-19 lockdown and pandemics. The increase in certain states has been witnessed, and these states include the state of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and Jharkhand. So 3 states that has come up with the numbers that the rate of tuition enrollment is higher. Now, in terms of Bihar and Jharkhand, high tuition rate was there. 70% of children in Bihar has basically taken admissions in the private tuitions, and in Jharkhand this number is 45%, as compared to Himachal Pradesh where only 10% of the student enrolled themselves for the private tuition, and in Maharashtra this number is 15%. So this data might be relevant for mains examination per se, where you can quote this. Now, the other news, 57th Director General of Police Conference. Addressing the 57th Director General of Police Conference, the Union Home Minister has highlighted the security challenges across the land and border, specifically in the area of Nepal and Myanmar. So these are the border area There are other border areas as well, but the priority and concern has been raised with regards to the Nepal and Myanmar. Now, during the ongoing conference, the police leadership of the country will deliberate on the emerging security challenges, क्या क्या opportunities explore की जा सकती है, the field of functionaries, academia, and other part will be taken into consideration in the conference, were actually taken into consideration. And even the point was that the government of India is looking forward to strengthen the part of internal security. Now, removal of Arms for Special Power Act, also known as APSPA. As per the Union Home Ministry, the Arms for Special Power Act has been removed from 30% of the northeastern region, and this has seen the increase in the peace that were there in the northeastern region, and a step decline of more than 42% of the violence has been witnessed across the northeastern states of India. Use of Chinese entities. The conference has raised concern about the commercial entities that is being used by our neighboring country to collect the personal data for economic control and influence minded. Assessment agencies ने फाइंड किए कुछ commercial entities जो operate कर रही हैं. The five primary objective of that is first to influence the mind of an individual. Second is to build the economic control. Third is for the acquisitions of data and epigenome. Fourth is a target scientists to compromise the innovation. And last but not the least is the intellectual property right. Third news, that is India-Egypt to hold dialogue on defense style. Something important because a country like Egypt was always a priority for India, but to a larger extent, we have missed out with some of the important deals with Egypt. So India and Egypt has recently signed about half a dozen of agreement, and MOUs has also been the part of it. And the sectors include agriculture, defense, and security cooperations. So what are the focus area between India and Egypt? So the president of Egypt is on a visit to India during basically 26th Republic Day ceremony की अगर बात करें. He was a chief guest. And the focus area was on collaborations on the security, counter-terrorism, defense-related matters, and even expected predominantly on the bilateral ties with the countries. Other important aspects include challenges from the unmanned aerial vehicle, which is also known as UAV, cyber threat, and two sides are expected to sign agreement to enhance cooperations in area of cyber security and information technology. Now, military engagement की अगर बात करें, 180 members military contingent has arrived India, and they have also participated in the Republic Day parade. And a special engagement between Indian and Egyptian forces is currently conducting a joint drill. The name of the drill is Exercise Cyclone in Rajasthan. Very important. A direct question can be framed in prelims examination, specifically those students who are also preparing for APFC exam, basically CAPF examination. So this will be important for the as well. Now the ongoing 14-day exercise is aims at building the interoperability of counter-terrorism and other special operations. Now ISRO Venice mission Shukryan-1, this has been delayed. The final confirmation has not yet been made by ISRO, but there is a chance and scope of getting this program done. According to the report, Indian Space Research Organization was yet to receive the approval from the Union government for the Venice mission, and this could be postponed till 2031. ISRO Venice mission, which is known as Shukryan-1, was expected to be launched in December 2024, and this idea was actually born way back in 2012. 5 years later, ISRO commenced the preliminary studies after the Department of Space has received 23% increase in 2017 and 18 budget. Now, a brief about Shukryan-1, because a direct question can also be framed in the prelims examination. It is an orbiter mission whose scientific payloads include a high resolution scientific apertures and radar. Its scientific payload currently include a high resolution synthetic aperture radar and ground penetrating radars. The mission is expected to study the Venus geological and volcanic activities, emissions on ground, wind speed, cloud cover, and other planetary characters such as elliptical orbit. Now, ISRO ने originally hope किया है कि ये जो शुक्रयान 1 है, this will be actually this was supposed to be there in mid 2023, but after the date it has been postponed. Now, final clarification will only be there from the ISRO. Now, the Assam mission include as Aditya L1, Chandrayaan 3 that has also been affected by the manufacturing delays and commercial launch commitments. Now, news that has been marked false by the PIB will be taken down. This is what the government of India has come up with the rules and regulation. There's a specific wing in the PIB, not as the fact check wing. This is known as FC wing. And if any news that is fact checked and found to be false and falsified will be not taken into any public domain. Recently, the Ministry of Electronic and Information Technology has uploaded a new draft amendment where it says that there are amendments made to the Information Technology Act 2021, and this include the regulations for the online gaming platform, and it significantly changed the proposal to scope to include the new provision. So what is the new provision all about? The draft proposal by the ministry says that any piece of news that has been identified fake by the fact checking of the Press Information Bureau, which is a central nodal agency to share the news update, will be not allowed on online intermediaries like social media platform that include Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So these are the three important platforms in India that has a mass reachability. So the reason being the government do not want it to create any chaos and do not want it to promote any falsified information on the social media platforms. Now, some regulation part that is evident under the regulation and under the amendment. According to the draft, it will be an obligations on the intermediaries that they cannot have a content that is marked false by the Press Information Bureau fact check department and other agency approved by the government. Now, beyond intermediaries, it would apply an entity for a technological stack that include hosting the service provider with internet service providers. Now, the requirement has been added under the due diligence requirement that the intermediaries need to follow and enjoy a safe harbor, which is a legal immunity from the third party content to the host. Now, what is PIB fact checking unit? Even if you're writing in mains paper as the governance part in general studies paper 2 precisely, you can use this as an example purposes. The fact checking website, a unit that was set up in 2019 to verify the news related to the government ministries, department, any schemes. So what has happened? A lot more third-party websites, blog used to basically have a manipulations on the data and they come up with the fact, right? So the PIB is an agency, a government agency that will be having a fact checking before any data is released out. They routinely flag informations about the government. It believes that it will lead to the reductions in fake and misleading informations. And if it is flagged, this particular information will not be allowed to be published in any of the platforms. Now, India and UAE discussed rupee non-oil trade. According to the UAE Ministry of Foreign Trade, United Arab Emirates, in its early discussion with India to trade with the non-fossil commodities in Indian rupees, and UAE has signed a wide range of free trade agreement last year with India, along with China, which is the biggest trading partner for the Gulf Arab oil and gas producer, most of whose the currencies are pegged at US dollar. As you must be aware that jitni bhi oil ki payments hoti, that is done on US dollar, right? Now the what point is that in this particular news, after the agreement that will be done with the UAE, India is looking forward to make the payment in INR. What will be the advantages of this decision? It will definitely provide a cushions to our forest reserve. अगर बात करें forest reserve की, and even which is the main reason for the current account deficit will be reduced to the larger extent. Now, UAE trade deal with India. The UAE trade deal with India aims to increase the bilateral non-oil trade to 100 billion in the next 5 years. And the large majority of the Gulf is conducted in the US dollar, but the countries such as India and China, not only India, both India and China are seeking to pay in their local currency, right? This will help to lower than the transaction cost. For India, the local currency is INR. For China, it is yen, right? So it depends whether the agreement is there or not, but India is looking forward to make the payment on Indian rupees only. Demand for domestic currency. So the large majority of Gulf trade is conducted in the US dollar, but the countries such as India and China is increasing, seeking to pay out in the local currency. And UAE has said that its trade relation with increasing, looking forward with Asian countries, while the primary security and investment ties between the West, where Gulf Arab states have a long strategic partnership with the United States. So this establishment and bilateral relationship between the United States and the UAE is not that new. So they have been purchasing it in the US dollar. So whether this will impact their trade balance, they have to decide, or whether UAE is going to allow China and India to trade in the domestic currencies. Now, norovirus outbreak reported in Kerala. Recently, the Kerala Health Department has confirmed 2 cases of gastrointestinal infections, that is norovirus, and this case was reported in class 1 student in the Ernakulam district of Kerala. The sample were tested, among which the 62%, that include students, their parents, they developed a symptoms known as symptoms that include diarrhea, abdominal pain, vomiting, nausea, and high temperature, headache, and even the body ache were witnessed. So these were some of the prominent symptoms that were there because of the norovirus, right? So norovirus is a new thing that is in news, and even a question can be framed for preparing for any other government examination. A direct question about the reporting of the cases in our Ernakulam district can also be asked. Now, what is norovirus and how it is common and how it is infecting the individual? So norovirus is a highly contagious virus that is sometimes known as a stomach flu. This is what it is commonly known as. So make sure you remember the basic things. Now the virus is estimated to kill around 2 lakh person globally every year. This is what the data we have currently with us. And with most of the death occurring below the age 5 and those over 65. So this is mostly affecting the people with comorbid, जो भी comorbid के categories हैं उनको infect कर रही है, और उसके अलावा the children under 5 are being affected. The virus is capable of surviving at low temperature, and the outbreak tends to be more common during winter and the colder country. This is why sometimes referred as winter vomiting diseases. तो यहाँ पे 2 चीज आपको ध्यान रखनी है. The first thing, that the norovirus is a virus which is also known as stomach flu, and this virus is also, this other symptoms part is also known as winter vomiting disease. So these are the 2 common names that is being used for the virus. Now, infection cases in India की अगर बात करें, the cases of norovirus is not common in India because there were not more cases that was reported. Some cases only in Kerala, specifically in the district of Ernakulam, was reported, right? So the infection has been reported in the previous year mainly from the South Indian state of Kerala. और एक स्टडी की गई है CMC में. CMC stand for the Christian Medical College, Vellore. It's a reputed medical college in India which take place with a lot of more studies, scientific studies. So they followed that the birth cohort of 673 for 3 years detected that 1856 diarrheal episode took place. 147 episode of vomiting were there. And the study found that the norovirus were detected in 11.2% of the cases, and diarrheal cases were reported by 20.4% of the vomiting episodes. Now, in 2021, a study was there which was reported in Hyderabad, which says that the detection rate was 10.3% sample of children who come into acute gastroenteritis. So these were some of the prominent cases that were reported across southern state of India. No cases had yet been reported either in the northern India or in the eastern India. Now, preventions to curb the spread, how we can overcome the part of the prevention, how you should incorporating this part. So the doctors and the expert are of the opinion that good hand hygiene is the best way to prevent the infection. Wash your hand with soap for at least 20 minutes. Hand sanitizers can also be even an effective part to overcome the infection of norovirus. The infection can be transmitted by food, so it is suggested that sick persons should not be preparing the food or should not be sharing the food. Any food item should be carefully washed off at high temperature, and the norovirus cannot survive at 60 degrees Celsius. So this is the advantages for the mankind, that the virus cannot survive for 60 degrees Celsius. And even if you're talking about the Indian cooking, we tend to cook it more than like 60, 90 degrees Celsius. So to in any case, if a food is well cooked, there's a lot of possibilities that virus cannot survive. Now, DGCA issues draft rule on ATC staff working shift. This is again something important. The Director General of Civil Aviation, known as DGCA, has recently issued a norms for duty timing for air traffic controller, rejecting the proposal for the Airport Authority of India to provide relaxations for airport in a fewer flights that enable to overcome the manpower shortage. This is not for the first time that these reports were many a times reported in the newspaper. Even the department was taking the concern of it. Because of the manpower shortage, the things were highlighted to the ministry. Now, what ministry had decided, a time will be allocated, a proper scheduling will be done so that there's no overwork loading for an individual. Now, what are the features of the draft CAR, that is a civil aviation requirement? There's a section 9 of the draft which relates to the airspace and air navigation services standard that puts on stress on duty hours limitation and mandatory rest for the air traffic controllers. As per the rules, the controller night shift will start from 1:30 a.m., right, and will end by 5:29 a.m. And there's no roasted shift that will continue between midnight to 6 a.m. So if an individual has already worked in midnight, he cannot continue his services. This is the rule that has been specifically mentioned under the civil aviation requirement. Now, no air traffic controller will perform any safety task when he or she is fatigued, right? What happened? Because the air traffic control, the ATC, is a very critical job. It's a challenging job, and any kind of mistake can lead to the loss of life for many people. Now, the duty shall not exceed 12 hours. This is what on a max capping has been done by the ministries, or you can see the DGCA, the nodal agencies regulating the part of the aviation sector in the country. Not more than 6 consecutive days should be they should be working. This is what the capping is. The duty, which cover all part of the period of the night duty, shall not exceed 10 hours. Not more than 2 consecutive duties shall be worked with all over parts of the period and the night duty. So consecutively, both things will be taken into considerations. And there are almost 3,871 air traffic control personnel that is working in India. And at the same time, the total sanctions of this post is less. AAI की अगर बात करें, Airport Authority of India, they have projected that the demand for 5131 in 2023 and 5428 in 2024 will comply by the Director General of Civil Aviation now. So these things, the priority area need to be focused upon, और काफी टाइम से ये pending थी. Now this is really appreciated on the part of the DGCA that they have come up to ensure that no fatigues and no work pressure is there with the ATC control centers. Now, INS Wagy, the 5th Scorpion submarine. Recently, the 5th Scorpion submarine class convention submarine INS Wagy was commissioned into Indian Navy. The 6th and the last class of the submarine is known as INS Wagy. So there are 6 classes from 1 to 6. You have to know the name of them. I have already discussed this news in daily news and editorial analysis. Do check it out. This is very important. A direct question can be framed in the prelims examination, right? So what is happening? Like India is having a technology transfer, and this technology transfer will help India to get the advanced version of the Scorpion class submarines. Now the Navy has 16 Convention 1 nuclear submarine in the services. It includes Russian Kilo class submarine, 4 German HDW submarines, 5 Scorpion class, and indigenous nuclear ballistic submarine with its INS Arihant. About INS Wagy, it's named after the Shandfish, a deep sea predator of Indian Ocean. The submarine are around 220 feet long and has a height of 40 feet. It can reach up to the speed of 11 knots and the surface with 20 knots when it's submerged. The part of this is the part of the Kalvari class submarine that is built on India. So something more important about Kalvari class of submarine. So this is designed based on the Scorpion class and developed by the French Navy group. So India and France is having a collaboration where France is providing the technological transfer part and upgradation on the part of the technological development. The class of submarine have a diesel electric transmission system. They are capable of operating with wide range of naval combat, which include anti-warship and anti-submarine operations, intelligence gathering, surveillance, and naval mining group. The Karaveri class of submarine are capable of launching various type of torpedoes, missiles, and are equipped with wide range of surveillance, intelligence gathering, and mechanisms. Now, India's G20 Task Force on Digital Public Infrastructure. This is the last topic for the discussion. Now, the Union government has set up India's G20 Task Force on the Public Infrastructure of Economic Transformations and Financial Inclusion and Development. The task force will be co-chaired by India's G20 Sherpas, that is Infosys, by the Infosys chairman also. So India's G20 Sherpa is Mr. Amitabh Khan, and Infosys chairman will be, they both will be collaborating on the part as a co-chair. Recently, an order was issued by the Ministry of Finance for the constitution of the task force, and the task force will assess India's ecosystem readiness to support the global effort and purposes for the resolutions to provide innovations that can be taken care in a timely manner. Now, what is the aim of this G20 presidency, specifically when it's come to the financial task force? It will oversee and facilitate achieving India's G20 priorities agendas on part. So some of the important priorities for India will include the digital public infrastructure, financial inclusion, promoting digital identity, improved and innovative technology based, that is including digital payment system like UPI governance and other framework. So the priorities that is set by India is again important for your examination. If you're having a PSIR as an optional, or even if you're attempting this question in general studies paper 2, you have to highlight the priorities of India. The task force is expected to create a detailed map of India's digital infrastructure. Some of the prominent sectors include finance, health, education, skilling, data, taxations, digital commerce, mobility, and beyond, and shortlisting the key digital infrastructure by India within individual G20 tracks. Now, focus or area for India during the G20 presidency. The government of India has said that its G20 presidency will focus on bridging the digital divide, especially in developing countries, for ensuring the greater benefits from the digital technologies. And G20 presidency provide an opportunity to set a drive and globally discussed on the key economic and developmental issues. So this is how the things will be taken care. And India's G20 presidency is again a milestone for India. And the presidency is going to continue by November 2023. After which India will be seizing the chairmanship. So this was all about for the FCA. We have a lot more other initiatives for you, like daily news and editorial analysis, where I cover the part of the Hindu and Indian Express, the IASGYAN magazine are there, which you can download from our website, FCA, PIB, MPR, Gist of Yojana, and Kurukshetra. All this initiative will help you to sail through the journey of civil services. If you have any other concern, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.